This is Investment Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Daily live streaming interactive. Featuring Mrs. Backup. Subscribe, hit the notification, smash the likes. Now, here's Backup Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to Investment Perspectives, everybody. I'm Brad Kimes. You can follow me at Backup Bradley on Twitter and all the information we're going to talk about here. The first thing I want to start with is shout out to Hiding Out Now, who gave me this over the weekend. The total circulating supply for XRP has changed, and currently right now we are sitting at 44,257 million plus, almost 258 million plus, but that is up from 44,112 million plus over the weekend. Excuse me. So current price of XRP is sitting now at 0.1887. Some would say a bargain, blue light special at these prices, but it's not financial advice. Okay, what I want to get into today is, for one, let's take a look at some of the news that's just been rolling out. The theme, the narrative, the things that we're hearing of lately. And I have to tell you, I really start to feel like it's a steamroller. Things are coming, and they're coming in a way that I'm sure for everybody, certainly in crypto Twitter, it is never fast enough. But to me, I feel like it's moving damn near a breakneck pace, and it's very difficult to keep up with all the things that are happening, because the space and the implications of the digital asset space and the digital asset class is so broad, how it can affect so many different areas of industry, that it's hard to keep up with on your own. Okay, let's get into this thing. Right here, we have a couple from Corey Johnson. You remember he was on Yahoo Finance with Jules Hyman. Let's just listen to the first few seconds of this, because it's pretty important to set the tone here.
I mean, store value certainly has been the singular investment theme, I think, when it comes to crypto, with the variations thereof. But, you know, crypto coming out of the last financial crisis, Bitcoin coming out of the last financial crisis in particular, was really written with this kind of thing in mind, with the notion that the devaluation of name your currency through the printing of money just doesn't happen when there's a fixed amount of a thing. And there's a fixed amount of Bitcoin, and there's a fixed amount of Ethereum, and there's a fixed amount of XRP. And the result is, this is really what this kind of financial crisis we're going through. The crisis, of course, is greater than financial right now. But the crisis we're going through right now really was made, Bitcoin was made for that.
Okay, so you can hear, and he touches on it and says, you know, of course, the crisis is greater than just financial. Speaking of which, let's go here, because this is from the World Economic Forum, and the new motto and initiative and narrative that's coming from them, the Great Reset. Listen to this question that's asked, and then the participant who responds. Let's listen to this.
Mayun, thank you so much for that. We've got a very busy end of our hour and 15. We are expecting to hear from Brad Smith, the president of Microsoft, from Lord Stern on climate issues. And we also want to come back, try and squeeze in a question or two from all of you, and to hear from Kristalina Georgieva and from Klaus. I'm going to turn to the fourth industrial revolution. We've spoken about this great reset as really accelerating the kind of changes we've seen in the fourth industrial revolution, or the predicted, in fact, by Klaus in the fourth industrial revolution, his book. Brad Smith, you've just written your own book about some of the kind of changes we can expect. To what extent has the pandemic accelerated change? And to what extent, perhaps, has it been a brake on some of the changes we might have seen? What's your perspective?
Listen to this.
Well, I think, interestingly, the pandemic has clearly accelerated the adoption of digital technologies. As people needed to work from home or study from home, or as governments needed to operate from home, it was digital technology that they turned to sustain the continuity of society around the world. And as people return to work, I think we can continue to expect digital technology and data, fundamentally to be the infrastructure for this decade and for the Great Reset we're talking about here. I think the great opportunity we have is to put this technology to work in a way that is going to advance all the goals that everyone has been talking about today. I think that needs to start with what it will take to promote a more inclusive jobs and economic recovery. I think that means recognizing that broadband has become the electricity of the 21st century.
Boom. Okay, let's keep moving because, you know, exchanging value across broadband is going to be a massive part of this too. And I think we all know that. Again, this is about tying together all these different things and seeing a macro narrative and initiative taking place. An initiative is important because they're taking action. That's what it means. Okay, so let's see here. Let's go to this next piece. We know Corey Johnson talks about government agency looks to remake online banking employing artificial intelligence. Now, I just covered this morning. If you guys have not gone over to the Digital Ledger channel, I will put a link to it in the comments underneath of this. I did a video this morning. You're going to want to check out that video. There is massive information in that video to complement what we're talking about here today. Okay. So banking regulators slam SWIFT, the archaic 1970s technology still used to move money across borders. But is blockchain any better? Of course we know it is. Now here's another narrative that was put out. And now this is from back in 2018, but it was shared again from Pomp. And it was about his mantra that pensions need to buy into Bitcoin. Interestingly enough, there's been a huge demand from institutional investors to want to have access into the digital asset space and cryptocurrencies as a piece to their portfolios. All right, let's keep going here. Payments Canada publishes ISO 20022 messages for new high-value payments. Now, this is just remarkable because we've heard so many delays suggested by SWIFT, but yet we see quite the opposite with a lot of the participants to SWIFT getting theirself up to date with their system. So keep going. Shout out to XRP Darren, one of the great influencers of the XRP community here. Look at the next couple pieces of information that come out here. Now, we just saw keep in mind the hearing last week, a congressional hearing or webinar that we witnessed, which was actually a hearing as well, where they suggested that they'd like to see, Stephen Lynch said he would like to see a regulatory sandbox underneath of the OCC, Office of Comptroller of Currency, which is Brian Brooks at this time. So now, look at the House summary of Senate amendments. House Bill number 701 by Representative Wright, Commerce, providing for the licensing and regulation of virtual currency businesses. You know, motion, action is taking place. Here's another one that points to the whole investors want to be able to get into cryptocurrency and offer at least a small portion of allocation of their clients' portfolios to cryptocurrency because they understand what kind of trouble is in front of them when it comes to traditional markets. Okay, growing number of institutional investors believe that digital assets should be a part of their investment portfolios, according to new research from Digital Assets. Fidelity Digital Assets. I mean, if you haven't done, go support XRP Darren on Patreon. He does a great job. And here is the document here. And it's just talking about growing number of institutions. You know the deal. Fidelity partnered with Coinbase, right? TD Ameritrade, RSX, right? It's all the major players from the legacy firms in the traditional markets are poised to come over here and already here, actually, and ready to win. Now, here's evidence right here that what they're talking about with Fidelity and the desire for institutional investors to move over into crypto assets investing, Grayscale has been crushing it in the investment department. Tied into DCG, obviously Barry Silbert, as we closely monitored the market in the wake of recent economics policy decisions, we've seen that crypto asset class is not only resilient, but that interest is surging as the monetary stimulus has caused investors to look to BTC as a potential hedge against inflation. Look at that chart right there. Over gold, bonds. I got to be honest with you. You know, it really does feel at this point like we're not that far. And when I say we're not that far, I can't know when it is, right? But when I see this kind of momentum gathering from so many areas, whether it's the legislative side, whether it's the regulatory side when we cover that, or whether it's the institutional investors wanting to get into cryptocurrency, as you see here, there is a pounding on the ground to get theirself into these assets. Now, here's something I wanted to do as a reminder. I don't know if all of you have been in this space long enough, but the Wall Street Journal put out back in 2017, and I'll never forget this, and I looked it up today, and this was a price prediction for 2020 from Wall Street Journal. And I got to be honest, this was like remarkable. When I found it again, I was like, wow. And shout out to Jerome S., who actually posted it in 2018. Look at the prices they had here for the top cryptos in the space. 2020 price prediction by 2020, $183,587 for Bitcoin, $17,032 for Ethereum, $1,046 for Ripple, at which they're still calling Ripple at that time and not even XRP, right? And then $982 for Litecoin. I have to tell you, you know, the year's not over, but if we were to see anything close to that, I got news for you. You would probably witness a human flying with no wings, and that would be me. So I just wanted to touch on this stuff because there is a large initiative and narrative that is gathering massive momentum. And it's not just crypto Twitter anymore, right? It is the right people in the right high level places, not just talking about it, but really taking initiative, making a call to action, just like Stephen Lynch from Congress saying that he wants to see a regulatory sandbox for cryptocurrency under the OCC. I have to say, you know, how long that takes them to get these things in place, I don't know. But what I do know is I feel pretty good about the fact that once they do, you're going to see the ability to invest in that on an institutional level like we've never witnessed before in the history of mankind. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Hit the like and subscribe, and I'll catch you all on the next one.